Hello everybody. So today I'll be making a white um two-piece. I have a wedding to attend in less than, let's say, 2 hours time, and I have to quickly make this. I got the invitation for the wedding, so, and I actually forgot about it. I was reminded just 2 days ago. It's a close friend and I can't afford to miss the wedding. Okay, so join me as I do this. It's a two-piece and I'm cutting the trouser right now. This is the fabric. I'm using a white crepe for it. So this is the fabric. I'm cutting the trouser, and I'll take you through the process as I'm doing it. For the front part of the trouser, you fold it into two, and you need three measurements: the length of the trouser, the hip, and the waist, which you will divide the hip and the waist into four and use the measurements, adding 2 inches allowance to each of these two measurements. Then measure out your trouser length. You go ahead and fold two the fabric into two again for the back, and place the front part. Measure 2 inches above the waist measurement, then join 1 inch by the side of the curve and 2 inches by the other side. Then for the hip allowance, you need half of the hip measurement, which was already divided by 4. Mine in this case was 5 inches, so I added 5 inches allowance plus the normal hip measurement. Then you go ahead and join the dots and cut off. So that is it for the back. Then at the back, you have to mark 5 inches from the center of the back measurement, then notch. That will serve as your dart. Then I'll go ahead and fold for my band, trouser band, which I measured my hip length by the width of 5. So as I folded it into two, it will be measuring 2.5 inch. So that is it for the trouser part, and this is the band. So I'll go ahead and fold the remaining fabric to use for the top. The top is actually simple. We'll fold the remaining fabric into two and drag it a little bit so that the front parts of the fabric will be shorter rather than the back of the fabric, to give the dropping effect. So I'll go ahead and measure the length I want the front part to be, which I got at 30 dots. Then I'll further fold it into two, so that I'll take the rest of the measurements. The measurements I need here is just the neck, which I did as 3 inches by 3 inches for the front and 3 inches by 1 inch as the back. Then I'll go ahead and measure the shoulder. My shoulder is 15 by 2 is 7.5. Then the sleeve length as 24. That is the length of the sleeve. So I'll go ahead and cut the neck for the back first, then deepen it for the front. So I cut off the excesses. That is it, guys. This top is so simple and on point. So next thing I'll do is measure my wrists round where I want the length of the sleeve to be. I got mine as 9 inches. I don't want it to be so tight, so I'll go ahead and divide the 9 inches into two, which is 4.5, and I'll notch the measurements. So guys, that's it for the top. So I had to cut off this excess fabric at the front, so the front line will be equal. So guys, after that, I'll use the remaining pieces to cut the wristband. The wristband's width, it's around 4.5, with the measurement of my wrist, adding extra 1 inch. So the next thing I'm going to cut is the collar of the neck. The collar is just a fancy collar. It doesn't really need a particular way of cutting. I just did a freehand sketch for the collar. Next, I'm going to cut it off. So this is just one piece of the collar. Because I'm trying to manage the fabric, I'm going to place it on another fabric and cut the rest of the three. Yeah, so we're done. This is the band, this is the neckline, and this is the collar. Next, I'm taking the whole fabrics to the sewing machine, and I will start with the trouser. This is the front part of the trouser, and I'll start by joining the flap, the cover, the flap. So I'll go ahead and join. So guys, I noticed the position of the camera is not really favorable, so I had to change it, and I finished off the flap. And the next, I'm going to join the flap of the back too, because I wouldn't like the zip to be in front neither the back, so I want my zip to be at the left hand side. That's where I prefer my zipper. So I'll join the front and the back, and I'll go ahead and join the darts for like 5 inches down. This is what I mean. And I'll go ahead and join the other parts of the darts. So it's time to join the back and the front part of the trouser. So I'll go ahead and take my measurements. This time I'm dividing it by 2. That is 42 divided by 2, that's 21. So I'll measure and join. So I'll go ahead and do the same for the other parts of the side of the trouser. I'll take the measurement to make sure it's correct, then leave out the zip allowance and start from it. The zip allowance I left was 7 inches, so I'll go ahead and sew. Next, I'm going to join the inner part of the trouser. So I'm going to start from the center, that is the flap area, to make sure that the front and the back parts meets very well. So I'll go ahead and join them and come back to the center and join the other side too. Next, I'm going to fold the tip of the trouser and hem it at around 2 inches fold. I want the fold to be bold. So guys, this is what I mean. I love the fold, I love the boldness. I'll go ahead and do the same for the other leg. So next, I am going to put the zipper at the side of the trouser. That is where I love my zipper to be for trousers. After which, I'll go ahead and put the band. However, there is this piped line in front of the trouser, so I measured 4 inches from the join of the flap, then sew it down, straight down, with just 1/4 inch. I needed to do that before putting the band, so that is what I'm doing at the moment. After which, I'll now do the other leg before putting the band and the zipper, so the band will be able to cover the beginning of that. So I'm going to do the same thing for the other leg. So guys, it's time to put the trouser band. And yep, we are done with the band, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the zipper right now. Yeah, our trouser is ready, so we're gonna go ahead and start making the top. So I start off by hemming the edge of the top, then after which I will go ahead and join the sides of the top, leaving the wrist area, like where my hand is supposed to pass through. I'll leave that place so that later on I can put the sleeve band there. So I'll go ahead and join the other side. Okay, so we are done with the sides of the top, so I'll go ahead and cut down the back part of the neck. So I noticed that it cannot pass through my head, so I had to cut it down by 4 inches, and then I turned it up with white bias. So for the moment, I'm going to leave the neck for now and put the band at the sleeves so I can be done with that. Then I'll get back to the neck. for the collar, remember we have 4 pieces, so I'm going to go ahead and join it 2 2. After that, I will notch it round, then turn it over before I will sew again on top of the sewing, round, just like 1/4 inch round. You see what I mean. So this is it. This is what I mean. So I will repeat same for the other remaining 2. So next, remember the collar that we cut has a stand. So this is the fabric for the stand. It measures 4 inches by the round measurements of the neckline. In this case, it's around 15 inches. So I shared it into 2 equal parts, that is 2 inches by 15 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and place the collar on this line, and I'll add the other half parts of the collar stand, then join it, after which I will now attach it to the neckline of the top, and that is all. So we are done, guys, and this is the final look of the outfit. Thanks for watching and hope you liked this video. Bye for now.